Well, hello and welcome to the Brian Hornback podcast. This is episode number 11, if you're keeping count. And yes, it's been a while since we've been on here. And so, again, I apologize for that. We will get better. I will get better. I don't know who we is, but I know who I is. Anyway, again, it's the Brian Hornback podcast. And if you are not familiar with us, with me, it is brianhornback.com. Been in operation for 16 years, basically covering a lot of East Tennessee, and some national stuff going on right here out of Tennessee. But anyway, got a lot of things to talk about this week. County Commission has been dealing with the issue of the Board of Health. The County Commission has been trying to reel in the Board of Health. The Board of Health is not necessarily complying with that. But it does appear from the workshop this past Monday that there's at least 8 members of the County Commission that at the workshop on Monday voiced some support for the Board of Health becoming advisory. Putting all of that, all of the restrictions and on the shoulders of Dr. Martha Buchanan, who is the health director for the Knox County Health Department, and so apparently there's a good move for that. Let's talk about how that came to be. Basically what happened was Dr. Pat O'Brien, who is, let's back up a minute. I think we talked about this on a previous episode, but let's go back in time to when all of this started back in March. The former law director opined that Dr. Buchanan could not use an advisory task force that she had put together. And that all of these decisions would have to come from the Board of Health. And so that's when the Board of Health really got into the forefront. And obviously with them making some policy decisions, that they had to be sunshined, which means that they can't communicate about any pending issues that they're going to discuss outside of a meeting where the press and the public could watch and participate. The legislature, when they passed the Open Meetings Act, what we call the Sunshine Law, the legislature did an interesting thing. They exempted themselves from that law, but every other governmental entity has to adhere to the Open Meetings Law. So you have some folks on the Board of Health who are medical folks, and so except for the county mayor, and then of course the county commission put on a citizen representative on the Board of Health a couple of months ago, but these folks haven't been used to what happens with making decisions in public. So Dr. Pat O'Brien had put out that he was going to ask that the governor to allow the Knox County Board of Health to be a regional Board of Health to deal with other counties. But when they actually had their Board of Health meeting on Wednesday, what he actually proposed was a request for the governor to issue a statewide mask mandate. I'm sure you've heard the news that Tennessee is the highest with the pandemic of anywhere in the United States. Dr. Pat O'Brien said at the meeting on Wednesday that we're the highest in the world. No one has disputed that. But no one, to my knowledge, has confirmed his statement on that. So anyway, so that's where we're at, and it looks like from the tweet that the governor just put out within the last couple hours. He's really encouraging everyone to start wearing a mask. So the effectiveness of the Board of Health from their meeting on Wednesday, they very well could be effective. But anyway, the county commission will meet on Monday, this coming Monday. That will be December the 21st. And they're going to take up this issue and vote on whether the Board of Health should become an advisory board, and whether Dr. Buchanan now should be the one to make all the regulations. But what we do know from the work that the Board of Health did on Wednesday night, they kept the Knox County mask mandate in effect. Additionally, they kept came up with a safer at home and a business guidelines, but the mandate for restaurant closures is still at 10 p.m. through January the 6th, which means that for Christmas and for New Year's, all restaurants are to close at 10 p.m. Sorry about that. So the restaurants and bars will not be open for New Year's Eve, obviously. So those parties will need to be in your home. So we will see what the county commission does on Monday. I do suspect that those 8 votes will stick, and the Knox County Board of Health will become an advisory board, and then Dr. Buchanan will carry the power to make all of those regulations going forward through the rest. It's been really interesting in Knox County. Recently reported, as of today, which is Thursday, December the 17th, 2020, that the Knox County General Sessions Court is only going to be hearing emergency items and items where individuals can't bail out, bond out, through February. It really brings up an interesting point, because General Sessions Court is the court where a lot of individuals, if people aren't paying their rent and they're needing to be evicted, that's where landlords go to get individuals evicted from the places where they're renting. And so I'm sure the court's not going to determine that is an emergency, but to a property owner who's not getting rent, that would be an emergency. But so there's not going to be any, and also many of the cases through the judiciary system in Knox County start in General Sessions Court. So that's a new revelation that I have reported on BrianHornback.com. Let's talk about something else. The county commission conference room up on the 6th floor of the city county building is being renovated. It was going to be closed the whole month of December, which we're in December. We're midway through December right now, and they're renovating it. Now, the city county building is a building that's controlled by an entity called the Public Building Authority. They are the ones who are the landlord. They supposedly own the building, although I would argue that the taxpayers own the building. But they manage the building. They're the property manager. So someone, and I still got to find out this information, has decided that the county commission conference room up on the 6th floor needs to be renovated. So they're going to close the conference room for the whole month of December for remodeling. There are 2 12-foot tables, and if you go to BrianHornback.com, you'll find a picture. Actually, you'll find several pictures of these 2 12-foot long conference tables. So as they were taking the furniture out in late November to begin the renovation process on this in this conference room, instead of potentially getting some Knox County inmates who work for work release, where they get 2 days for every time served because they actually work, instead of them coming up and taking the conference tables apart, They couldn't get the conference tables in the elevators. It was going to be too difficult to take it down 6 flights of stairs through the stairwell, they say. So apparently the decision was made to take a saw and cut the conference tables in half. 2 12-foot conference tables, cut them in half. Oop. Well, I was told this information. I contacted the Public Building Authority. They tell me that in late November, these conference room tables were given to the county surplus department. County surplus department takes surplus material like tables, chairs, desks, whatnot, and they decide if they need to be used somewhere else or if they want to sell them on govdeals.com. So naturally, I go to govdeals.com, don't find anything there for Knox County selling it. Knox County's got some things on there, but didn't have any conference room tables. And so I contacted Surplus and I asked about the tables. I was told, and you can read this on brianhornback.com, that the decision was made. They couldn't go down the elevator. It was too cumbersome to take them down the stairwell, and they were old, and they cut them up and then put them in an open top. Can't remember the name they used. Refuse container, which to me is a garbage dumpster. So we got 2 12-foot conference room tables that got cut in half, thrown in the dumpster, and is in the landfill today. Folks, what in the world? We got bureaucrats. This is typical, in my opinion. I've been following politics for 30 plus years. So typical. They take product and things that we as taxpayers buy and pay for with our tax dollars, and they simply dispose of it because they think it's theirs. I've heard so many office holders say, well, that's my money. Or I hear bureaucrats say, well, that's my money. Guess what, folks? That's not your money. That is the taxpayers of Knox County's money. Those tables belong to the taxpayers of Knox County. So they're in the landfill. Nothing we can do about it. But we can highlight it. So if you'll go to brianhornback.com, it's the top story right now on that website. If you're there, when you're hearing this now, and so just a crying shame that our tax dollars were used in that form and fashion, and it's just awful. Anyway, again, it's the Brian Hornback podcast. Check me out on the web at brianhornback.com. Send me an email, brian@brianhornback.com. Wherever you're listening to me at on a podcast stream, whether you're on Apple or whether you're on Spotify or Google Podcast or Anchor FM, give me a rating, give me a like. If you're on the YouTube channel and you're watching this on YouTube, be sure you like it, be sure you comment, be sure you share it, and be sure you subscribe. With that, I'm going to end this episode number 11, and maybe, hopefully, I'll have something more positive to talk about. Maybe I won't be so ticked off on the next one. And but again, I deal in politics, and a lot of times it's not pretty, and a lot of times it ticks me off, and that's just the way it goes. So again, give me an email, brian@brianhornback.com. Hit me up on any of the socials that you're finding me on. If you're on Twitter, I'm at mega_bullhorn. Or you can also find me at Brian Hornback on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook, brianhornback.com. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on YouTube. Again, if you're listening to me on Apple, Google, Spotify, Anchor, Breaker, Public Radio Podcast, whatever you're listening to me on, show me some love, and we'll keep coming back and talking to you. So we'll see you hopefully on podcast episode 12 in the next day or so. So y'all have a great day. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. Wear your mask. Be kind. Come on, people.